"I'll expose you, Sarah." His roar exploded through the marble hall, shaking chandeliers and silencing every laugh. Glass slipped from a waiter's hand, shattering across the floor. All eyes turned to Sarah, frozen under the weight of his fury. Her chest tightened, because she knew the truth was no longer hers to hide. The chandeliers blazed, spilling gold across polished marble as music carried through the hall. Sarah glided between guests, her smile wide enough for every camera. Her charm rehearsed to perfection. Glasses clinked, laughter rose, and everyone saw her as the flawless millionaire wife. But her pulse pounded harder than the music, her hand trembling when she raised her drink. She laughed a second too late, her voice sharp where it should have been soft. Behind her sparkling eyes lived a storm, and no diamond could hide it. Each flash from the photographers felt like a spotlight on her unease. To the crowd she was untouchable, but Sarah knew the glittering mansion around her was fragile, built on lies that could shatter any second. Marcus stood just close enough to look protective, yet far enough to keep his distance. His suit was crisp, his tie straight, every detail chosen with care. He shook hands, nodded politely, and let others talk while he listened. Guests trusted him, admired his calm, believed he was the man holding Sarah's empire steady. But Sarah knew better. His quiet eyes followed her every move, weighing her words, measuring her fear. When she laughed for the cameras, Marcus didn't join. He only raised his glass, expression unreadable, as if he held something over her. His silence pressed against her ribs more than any accusation. Everyone thought he was the loyal partner who kept the books balanced, but Sarah felt the truth. Marcus wasn't guarding numbers. He was guarding secrets sharp enough to cut her life apart when the moment came. The driveway gleamed with rows of luxury cars, each polished to perfection, each a trophy of wealth. Guests arrived in gowns and tuxedos, stepping into parties that seemed endless. Champagne flowing, music pounding, laughter filling the night. Sarah moved through it all like a queen, and Marcus, always at her side, looked like the trusted knight who kept her throne safe. But behind the glitter, rumors spread like smoke. Neighbors whispered about villas bought under strange names, money wired to banks no one could trace, deals signed in back rooms with no records left behind. Some said the fortune was built on smart moves, others swore it was built on lies. Every dollar seemed to vanish as quickly as it came. Sarah smiled for the cameras, but inside she felt the walls closing in. She knew the empire looked solid from the outside, but the foundation was cracking. Each car in the driveway, each toast in the ballroom, carried a cost she couldn't cover forever. It was only a matter of time before the whispers turned into proof, and proof turned into ruin. The boardroom was silent, the kind of silence that burns hotter than fire. Screens glowed with red numbers, and every eye locked on Sarah. $50 million had vanished overnight, gone without a trace. She cleared her throat, forcing a shaky smile. "It's just a glitch," she whispered, her voice breaking. But no one moved. Executives exchanged looks, brows furrowed, hands clenched around pens. Marcus sat still, his calmness colder than the figures on the screen. Sarah felt the ground slipping beneath her heels. Laughter from last night's party echoed in her head, now mocking her. The empire that seemed untouchable suddenly looked fragile. The men and women around the table weren't convinced, and their silence told her they were ready to believe the worst. If 50 million disappeared overnight, who would you blame first? The wife smiling through every lie, or the partner quiet but watching everything? The question hangs heavy, forcing the audience to choose, their comments becoming part of the trial. Her husband stayed up through the night. Papers spread across the desk, numbers circling back to one name, Marcus. Every transfer, every hidden account bore his signature. The evidence was too clean, too precise, as if someone wanted it to be found. Sarah's voice cracked as she begged, "I never signed those. I swear." Tears streaked her face, but her husband's eyes hardened. He had seen her fake smiles too many times to take her words as truth. Each page he turned felt like another nail in her coffin. Sarah's chest tightened as Marcus's calm face flashed in her mind. Had he forged it, or had he trapped her in a web too tight to escape? The silence between husband and wife grew colder, heavier than the pile of evidence itself. For the first time, Sarah realized doubt was deadlier than proof. The morning papers hit with a blow sharper than any headline before. Splashed across the front page was a single photo. Sarah and Marcus at a candlelit table, wine glasses nearly touching, smiles far too soft for business. The image spread fast, screens buzzing with the story of a secret dinner. Reporters didn't call it strategy. They called it betrayal. Her husband's hands shook as he held the paper, the caption screaming louder than her protests. Sarah tried to explain. It was just business, but her words collapsed under the weight of that picture. To the world, it wasn't numbers anymore. It was intimacy. And once love or lust entered the whispers, every deal, every dollar carried a darker meaning. The empire's cracks weren't just financial now. They were personal, and they were visible to everyone. The front doors slammed open, rattling against the marble walls as her husband stormed inside, his face red with fury. His fists curled tight, his voice booming through the hall. "You think I won't find out?" The chandeliers trembled with the force of his rage. Sarah stumbled back, her voice breaking into whispers. "It's not what it looks like," she pleaded, each word thinner than the last. Her eyes darted toward Marcus, begging for him to speak, to defend her. But Marcus didn't move. He stood tall, his calm face unreadable, his silence cutting sharper than any accusation. The pause stretched heavy and merciless. Her husband's breath came in short bursts, anger twisting deeper with every second of quiet. Sarah's denials fell flat against the weight of that stillness. In that moment, it didn't matter if the rumors were true. What mattered was that Marcus didn't deny them, and his silence screamed louder than anything Sarah could say. The fallout spread faster than fire. Family members who once praised Sarah now avoided her calls. Old allies turned cold, their voices clipped, their excuses shallow. Each ring of the phone ended in silence, each unanswered message another nail in her coffin. She had dinner tables and office halls. Whispers carried the same venom. Sarah and Marcus weren't just partners in business, they were partners in betrayal. Even her closest cousin, who once defended her blindly, now kept his distance, saying only, "I can't get dragged into this." Every glance felt poisoned, every room heavier with judgment. Sarah tried to fight back with words, but no one believed them anymore. They believed the photo, the missing money, the silence from Marcus. Trust had slipped from her grasp, leaving her stranded in the middle of her empire, surrounded but completely alone. The envelope was thin, unmarked, slipped quietly beneath the mansion door. Sarah bent to pick it up, her hands trembling before she even tore it open. The message was short, written in thick black ink. "Stay quiet or your empire burns." No signature, no clue, just a threat that felt too personal. Her mind raced. Was it the rival lawyer who had been circling for months, waiting for her to fall? Or was it someone closer, someone inside her circle, watching every move? She glanced toward Marcus, his calm face unreadable as always. The letter slipped from her grip, floating to the floor like ash. For the first time, Sarah realized the danger wasn't just in the whispers. It was already inside her home. What do you think? Was Marcus shielding Sarah from the storm, or building it around her all along? Every look, every silence feels like a move in his game. Drop your answer in the comments, because this betrayal isn't done unfolding yet. The house slept in silence, but the study lights still burned. Her husband stood there, shoulders tense, eyes fixed on Marcus, who leaned casually against the desk as if he owned it. "Tell me the truth," her husband demanded, his voice sharp, stripped of patience. Marcus's lips curved into a slow smirk, his calmness almost mocking. "Truth is dangerous, sir," he replied, his tone steady, words echoing like a warning. The room grew heavier, the ticking clock louder with every second. Her husband's fist clenched, veins rising in his hand, but Marcus never flinched. His eyes stayed locked, daring him to push harder. In that moment, it wasn't about money or rumors. It was about power. Marcus had it, her husband wanted it, and Sarah's fate hung between them, suspended in silence darker than the midnight around them. The courtroom buzzed until the prosecutor dropped a thick file onto the bench. Pages slid open, showing signatures, transfers, and accounts. Every one of them tied to Sarah, every trail leading straight into Marcus's name. Gasps erupted, the sound echoing louder than the judge's gavel. Sarah's face drained of color, her mouth opening but no words coming. She shook her head desperately, whispering, "That's not possible." But the documents glared back with undeniable proof. Marcus sat calmly at the defense table, his eyes steady, his expression unreadable, like he had been waiting for this very moment. Her husband sat behind her, jaw clenched, offering no comfort. The heat of the courtroom lights pressed down on Sarah, and for the first time she realized the betrayal wasn't rumor anymore. It was evidence. The morning after court, the world needed no verdict. Headlines flashed across every screen, bold letters screaming, "Millionaire wife exposed as fraud." News anchors tore her reputation apart in polished voices, while paparazzi swarmed the mansion gates, their cameras flashing like fire. Sarah's name, once linked to luxury and elegance, was now stamped with disgrace. Former friends deleted her number. Sponsors cut ties, charities pulled her name from their boards. Every door that had once opened with ease now slammed shut in her face. Meanwhile, Marcus was gone. No trace, no defense, no statement, only silence. He had vanished into the shadows, leaving Sarah alone at the center of the storm. Her wealth had bought her spotlight, but now it burned hotter than she could stand. Each headline was another stone, and she was being buried alive under the weight of her fall. She called him late at night, her voice shaking as she begged for help. For years, her father had been her shield, the man who pulled strings, who silenced enemies, who made problems vanish with a single phone call. She expected anger, maybe disappointment, but not this. His voice came cold, sharper than any judge's sentence. "You've destroyed everything. Don't call me again." The line went dead, and the silence that followed cut deeper than betrayal. Sarah stared at the phone in her hand, her chest tightening as reality set in. This wasn't just the loss of money or reputation, it was blood turning against her. The man who had built the foundation of her life had severed it in one sentence. Her last lifeline snapped, and for the first time Sarah realized she was truly alone, drowning with no one left to pull her out. The courtroom fell silent when the doors opened, and Marcus stepped inside. For weeks he had vanished without a trace, his absence leaving Sarah clinging to the faint hope he might still be on her side. But hope died the moment he took the stand. His calm voice carried across the room, steady and sharp. He spoke of transfers, late-night meetings, whispered promises, each word painting Sarah as the mastermind behind it all. She shook her head, pleading, "He's lying, he's twisting everything." But her protest drowned beneath his certainty. Every sentence from Marcus was another blade, slicing her final defense to pieces. The jury leaned in, listening, their faces turning colder with each revelation. Sarah's heart pounded as she realized the truth. Marcus hadn't just abandoned her. He had built her downfall, brick by brick, and now he was finishing it with his testimony. He sat just a few feet behind her, hands folded, face carved from stone. Sarah turned toward him again and again, desperate for a glance, a word, any sign of support. But his eyes stayed cold, locked on her like a stranger. He didn't rise, didn't defend, didn't whisper comfort. His silence was louder than Marcus's testimony, heavier than the judge's gavel. In that silence, Sarah finally understood. Love had died in this courtroom long before her case began. The judge's gavel crashed down, the sound echoing like a final nail in a coffin. 20 years, he declared, his voice firm, leaving no room for mercy. Gasps rippled through the courtroom, but Sarah couldn't breathe. Her fortune was stripped, her accounts frozen, her name wiped clean from every wall where it once hung in gold. No longer the millionaire wife, no longer the woman who commanded rooms. She was now reduced to an inmate, a number waiting to be processed. The cameras outside caught every tear sliding down her face as guards closed in. Flashbulbs lit her humiliation, headlines already forming before she even left the stand. Sarah staggered, wrists heavy with cold steel, her future carved into concrete walls and locked doors. The woman who once lived under chandeliers now faced 2 decades of shadows. The empire she built was gone. The only thing left was her downfall. The cell door slammed shut, its echo crawling into Sarah's bones. Concrete walls surrounded her, grey and unyielding, pressing closer with every breath. She sat on the narrow cot, hands gripping her knees, replaying every moment in her mind. Marcus's calm eyes, his smirk in the shadows, his silence in the boardroom. All of it formed a pattern she had refused to see. None of it was chance. The missing millions, the leaked photo, the courtroom files, it was all placed with precision, a trap she walked into blindly. She whispered his name into the empty cell, her voice breaking, realizing he had been pulling strings long before the empire crumbled. Tears burned, but there was no one left to hear them. Marcus hadn't just betrayed her. He had written the ending step by step, and left her to live it behind bars. The millionaire wife lost it all: wealth, love, freedom, while the partner she trusted walked away untouched. Sarah sat in her cell, the cold floor beneath her feet, the sound of chains rattling in the corridor outside. The world she once owned had shrunk to 4 walls and a barred window. Outside, Marcus lived freely, his name unsmeared, his pockets full, his silence now her greatest punishment. She replayed the nights of laughter, the clinking of glasses, the parties where everyone admired her. None of them mattered now. Her husband's eyes had turned to stone, her father's voice had cut ties, and Marcus's betrayal had sealed her fate. The woman who once held power in her hands was now just another prisoner, her empire burned to ash. The ending wasn't a scandal. It was an execution carried out in silence, with Marcus walking away as if nothing had ever happened. If this story stunned you, smash the like button right now. Show your support so more dark truths like this reach you first. Don't just watch, react. The words hang heavy, pushing viewers to act before the screen fades to black. Do you think Sarah was guilty, or was Marcus the true mastermind? The narrator asks, voice pulling the audience into the heart of the story. Look at the trail. Vanished millions, secret dinners, betrayal in court. Was Sarah playing a dangerous game and finally caught, or was Marcus weaving the web all along? Comment your thoughts below. Your answer matters, because every betrayal has 2 sides and only one truth survives. The screen lingers on Sarah's broken face, then Marcus's calm eyes, daring the viewers to decide who they believe. The choice isn't simple, and that's exactly why it burns. Don't forget to subscribe and share. The next betrayal will be even darker, the next fall even deeper. Stay with us, because every story hides a truth waiting to explode, and you won't want to miss the moment it does.